Unit 2, Mesopotamia, Lesson 7, Exploring the Four Empires of Mesopotamia. What were the most important achievements of the Mesopotamian empires? Introduction. Ancient Sumer flourished in Mesopotamia between 3500 and 2300 BCE. As you read on, you'll discover what happened to the Sumerians and who ruled Mesopotamia after them. The city-states of ancient Sumer were like small, independent countries. They often fought over land and water rights, never uniting into one group. Their division left them open to attacks by stronger groups. About 2300 BCE, the Akkadians conquered Sumer. This group made the Sumerian city-states a part of an empire, which is a large territory where groups of people are ruled by a single leader or government. Groups like the Akkadians first conquer and then rule other lands. In this lesson, you'll learn about four empires that rose to power in Mesopotamia between 2300 and 539 BCE. They were the Akkadian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Assyrian Empire, and the Neo-Babylonian or New Babylonian Empire. You will also learn that each of these empires faced conflict with neighboring lands, which led to many wars. Rulers focused on improving their military strategies and began training warriors in more advanced tactics. Some people even chose to rebel against kings, creating problems within the empire. What was life like in each of these powerful Mesopotamian empires? Who were the ruthless rulers that commanded them? Why did they all collapse? Let's find out more about these empires. The Akkadian Empire. For over 1,000 years, Sumer was a land of independent city-states. Later, around 2300 BCE, the Akkadians from northern Mesopotamia conquered the land. According to legends, King Sargon led the Akkadians and went on to become the first ruler of the Akkadian Empire. Sargon was both a strong king and a skilled general, who built his empire through effective military strategies. After assembling a large army, he taught his soldiers to fight in tight formations. Soldiers carrying shields stood at the front of the formation, while those carrying spears stood in the line behind. The spear carriers would extend their weapons between the shields. Sargon used his military tactics to add territory to his empire. After defeating the king of the city-state of Uruk, Sargon had gained control of all of Mesopotamia, including Sumer. To maintain control of his empire, Sargon used very clever political strategies. He destroyed the walls of many city-states, leaving them completely defenseless. Sargon believed that without the protection of the walls, people were less likely to rebel. He also demanded the loyalty of the governors of city-states, replacing any disloyal ones with his own men. Sargon lived to an old age and decreed that his sons rule after his death. His name soon passed into legend because he and the Akkadians had created the world's first empire. It stretched across Mesopotamia. The Akkadian military conquered the independent city-states of Sumer. King Sargon united these lands, creating the world's first empire. Section 2. Life under Akkadian rule. Sargon ruled his empire for more than 50 years, during which he formed the city of Ugada in northern Mesopotamia, the empire's capital. He constructed the city with the help of tributes and collected from the people he conquered. One of the most richest and powerful cities in the world, Ugada became a cultural center with many beautiful temples and palaces. The Akkadians may have ruled Sumer, but the Sumerian culture continued to thrive. The Akkadians farmed using the Sumerians' irrigation techniques. To record information, they used Sumer's system of cuneiform writing. They even worshipped the same gods and goddesses, despite referring to them by different names. For example, the goddess Inanna became known as Ishtar, while the god An became known as Anu. Religion stayed central to the social order, and kings continued to rule in the name of the gods. Although men typically held power, priestesses and noble women had some access to power. For example, Sargon placed his daughter, Enduana, in the powerful position of high priestess and of the moon god, a tradition that later gods adopted as well. The Akkadians had their own cultural achievements. Over time, their language replaced that of the Sumerians. In art, they became especially known for their skillful three-dimensional sculptures. Artisans also carved relief sculptures called steles on stone. A famous example is the victory stele, which was created to celebrate a military victory by Sargon's grandson, King Naram-Sin. The stele shows Naram-Sin leading the victorious army up a mountain slope. Some of his enemies are crushed underfoot, while others die, flee, or beg for mercy. Sargon had hoped that his empire would last for 1,000 years, but future kings found it difficult to rule such a large territory, causing the empire to grow weak. After about 200 years, the Akkadian Empire fell to new invaders from the north and east. Section 3. Hammurabi and the Babylonian Empire. For a while after the fall of the Akkadians, Sumer was once again in a group of city-states. The next ruler to unite all of Mesopotamia was a king named Hammurabi. Hammurabi ruled Babylon, a small city-state in central Mesopotamia. After conquering the rest of Mesopotamia, he named Babylon the capital of his empire, so the region became known as the Babylonian Empire or Babylonia. Hammurabi is best known for his Code of Laws, which he wrote during his reign from 1792 to 1750 BCE. He used the Code of Laws to unify his empire and preserve order, basing the laws not merely on his own authority, but on the word of the gods. He declared the Babylonian god Marduk supreme over other gods. Hammurabi claimed that the gods had instructed him to create laws that applied to the entire empire. Since the laws were based on the gods' will, they could never be changed. The Code of Laws was written on a stele and put on public display in a temple. Hammurabi's code was detailed, covering many situations, such as trade, payment for work, marriage, and divorce. The code spelled out punishments for crimes, such as stealing or causing injury. For example, if a poorly assembled house were to collapse and kill its owner, the builder could be put to death. However, if the owner's son, rather than the owner, were killed in the collapse, the builder's son could be sentenced to death. Laws like this one seem harsh to us now, but Hammurabi's code was a notable achievement. Although the laws and punishments did not treat all people equally, the code did apply to everyone living in the empire. Section 4. Life in the Babylonian Empire. Babylonia thrived under Hammurabi. He worked to unite the people of his empire. The roads he built and the postal service he created helped connect Babylonians of all statuses. Agriculture and trade flourished. Hammurabi was careful to properly maintain irrigation systems so that the land remained fertile and provided enough food. Because the city of Babylon was on the banks of the Euphrates River, it became an important center of trade. Babylonians traded grain and woven cloth for wood, gold, silver, precious gems, and livestock with people throughout the Persian Gulf. Trade helped the empire's economy. Many types of artisans used materials brought from distant lands like Egypt. The arts flourished. Writers wrote historical poems, some of which survive today. Most significantly, Babylonian society was unusually fair for its time. The laws treated the various classes differently, but even enslaved people had some rights. Those enslaved could work elsewhere and keep their wages, own property, and even buy their freedom if they saved enough money. Babylonian women also had more rights than in most other ancient societies. Even though their fathers chose their husbands, women could own property and keep money of their own. Hammurabi was proud of his achievements, once writing, "I rooted out the enemy above and below. I made an end of war. I promoted the welfare of the land. I have governed them, the people, in peace. I have sheltered them in my strength.